Hey there, guys. We just had the live stream number 73 for Global, and in this video, I'll just be talking about it, going over it, etc. So, the first thing they did during the live stream was they talked about the unit popularity poll. The part 1 is now over, so we've got our top 5 popularity winners. First of all, or I guess, fifth of all, number 5 is Myra. Myra is a unit that I personally do not like that much, but I have certainly seen lots of people saying they really like her, so not really surprised that she ranked in the top 5. Just as a personal note, I'm a little glad she did make it beyond 5 because I've never liked her that much, and honestly, it's not so much about the unit itself. It's just that back in the 7-star days, I used to keep track of my unit polls, and Myra was literally the number 1 most pulled unit for me of all the 7 stars. I think I had like 19 copies of her when I finally stopped keeping track towards the beginning of Neovisions. So that's little personal thing with me is why I don't like her. I just got sick of seeing her because she was my number 1 most pulled unit. But, as far as the unit herself, she was fine. I used her and all. But, I pulled her way too much back in the day. Number 4 is Xyrus. And I'm actually pretty happy about this because I think Xyrus was pretty cool. He never got a Neovision. So, hopefully they make him into a decent unit because I always liked him. He's like Roberta's nemesis or whatever. Kind of a little cool storyline with that. But he is number 4. Number 3 is Esther. Now, Esther already got 2 units, a 7-star and the Neovisions. And both her units were very, very good. So, I use Esther all the time. I like Esther. She's fine. So, no problems here. I'm a little bit like, another Esther, even though we already have 2. We're going to probably get another one. But, whatever. She's a cool unit. We've gotten her before. And she's been really good both times. So if she's really good for the 3rd time, whatever. Great. Number 2 was Beryl. And again, I'm pretty happy to say this because Beryl, again, never got a Neovision. No Awakening, no new version, nothing. And he was, really the brave shifting thing would have fit him really well if it existed back in his time period. So it's kind of cool that he gets being made again. Now, he wasn't really that meta when he came out back in the day. Like, he was decent, and I used him in a few fights and all. But you can't really say Beryl was, like, top tier ever, really. But he was decent, and I liked him. And, yeah, he's a cool design. He's a Tonberry, not super original, but still, it's a cool unit. And then number 1 is Zahn. And this one seems to be kind of divided from people's opinions. Some people in the chat were like, oh no, I can't believe Zahn won. I'm so disappointed. And other people were like, yay. I'm personally happy because I would really like a strong Zahn. He is by far the most relevant 7-star to this day. Probably the only 7-star that even matters at all these days. And he's still really, really good at what he does. Now, just real quick, I will address what everyone keeps saying when they say Zahn's going to be terrible. They're basically saying that there's no way a new version of Zahn will have the kit of the old Zahn, where he can copy and spread killers. Other people are saying, like, we hope he can spread amplifies and all that. Honestly, very unlikely. I don't expect that. And the reason I'm happy about Zahn is not because I expect a Neovisions to be really powerful like his 7-star. They're probably going to leave that out. It'll be disappointing. I definitely hope they add all that. I'm sure they won't. But it would be nice. But no, the reason I like Zahn is basically he is the character type that I really like. Like the quick thief, agile fighter. Not really like a big tank type or anything. I like that character archetype. So, yeah, I'm hoping Zahn is a really good, damage dealer. Hopefully they give him some support for the party as well. And he is the number 1 winner, so hopefully they make him really good. Wasn't Malphasey the winner of the last one, and they made her unit really good? And wasn't Roberta, I think, the winner of the old one back in the day? And they made her really good as well. So, yeah, I have good hopes for the #1 winner, that hopefully they make him good even if they don't bring over all the 7-star tricks. Then we went into them announcing the Part 2 popularity poll. This, just a reminder, it's going to start after maintenance next week, where you vote on your favorite JP units. And, yep, I'll talk about this more a little bit later, but I already mentioned, I kind of like Folka. So I'm probably going to vote her. I'll probably vote Hayo as well, and then I don't know for my third option. That's just me, but definitely vote whatever you personally like. Then we went into the new unit. So for Halloween, we are getting Chow, somewhat out of season. The Chinese New Year is now the Guardian of the Underworld Chow. He is a mage and a support unit, according to his tags. And they talked about him during the stream. So he's a powerful mage with water, light, and dark attacks. He's primarily water. He's got white and green to support the party. And he's got area effects. And they actually preview these, which is really cool. So 40% water amp field with Leviathan, and 30% light field with Alexander, and 30% dark field with Diablos. Now, unfortunately, as you can see, these are all individual fields, so it's not quite as good as the new fields going forward, where like it's all the elements in one, like Setzer, etc. Those are like all the elements at the same time. This one you have to pick and choose, which is a little bit unfortunate. It's like this seems to be kind of a problem with global units, is they release at a time period when they're already behind the curve in terms of unit design. It feels like, they started design. I'm just speculating here, but it feels like they started designing Chow, like, let's say 4 months ago to get him ready for Halloween. And they're like, okay, these days units have one field at a time. And that's how they designed him. They didn't really look ahead and realize we're releasing him during Halloween. This is when units transfer over to having multi-element fields like Vanille and all that. So they should have made these all the fields in one, like the newer units. Anyway, that's my little side tangent that I feel like I wish they would look to the future when they're designing units instead of being stuck in the past, because we've had the same problem in other units recently, where they do things the way it used to be done and not the way it's done at the time of their release period. Anyway, they also previewed some of his skills. This is a 5-turn cooldown. It boosts stats and all that, and it activates auto-casting Focus down here, who's a good dog, for 2 turns, and it does stat buff for the party, and it's basically just a cooldown. This is a little, I don't know, I don't want to call it lazy, but this is literally a copy-paste of Dwayne's skill. So it's Arcane Supplementation. It's the Clash of Wills only ability that breaks the caps. It does 450 stat buff and 350 LB buff. And I'm totally fine with units like sharing skills and all, but this is like literally to the exact detail, the exact same skill. Like, it would have been a little bit interesting for them to like just, change the name at the very least, change some of the values slightly. I don't know. Anyway, he has Dwayne's skill. It's a really good skill, don't get me wrong. It's a very, very powerful skill, and one of the best things about Dwayne is bringing him for that skill. And now Chow has it. So there you go. It's very, very good. And if you've got Chow and Dwayne on the party, you're probably not going to. But if you do, you can have 6 turns of this, or potentially full uptime if you've got things like Melissa or Roka in the party. So yeah. And then his leader skill. His leader skill is very wonky, and we're going back to this goofiness with Ibarra's leader skill. So it's 300 to all Clash, out of Clash, forgettable, ignorable. But in Clash, it's 650 attack, 900 magic, and 500 defense and spirit. So, but for all Clash of Wills units, though. So, I mean, I don't know. This one, it's... I wish they didn't do this. I'd honestly rather it be just 750 to both and not 650 to one, 900 to the other. I guess you can replace Elena with this leader skill, but at the same time, like something like Tyvis's leader skill or Roka's, or if the elements match, Lightning's are better. And arguably, maybe even Elena's leader skill is still better because it's more attack power and less magic, but you get more defense and spirit too. I really feel like the defense and spirit should have been 750 on this. But really, who were good magical units in Clash of Wills? So obviously Chow himself will be probably good. I hope so. We've got what's her name? Ibarra is pretty good. Roka is decent in Clash of Wills. Is anyone else really high magical damage in Clash of Wills? I think the rest of them are all like physical units. So Tyvis, Ayabrea, Dwayne, 2B, A2, Richt. Like, they're all physical units, and they're just going to be weaker with this leader skill. But the mages will be 900. So I don't know. It's a weird leader skill. I don't like these. It ended up being okay with Ibarra, so who knows? Maybe it's fine. But just my initial right away assumption is if I had access to all the stuff, I would probably go with Typhus's leader skill. These 900 to evocation, light, and water, because that's going to give you Typhus, Chow, Addison Ray, Richt, 2B, A2, etc. Also, Roka. And Roka's on the darkness, and dark is a weakness of the boss. But anyway, there you go. So there's Chow. So we're going to look at him a lot more closely on Wednesday evening when the full data is available, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on the unit. Now, I hope he's really good in Dark Visions, because if he's like a Clash of Wills only type of unit, kind of like Dwayne is for the most part, then I don't know. We're going to have to wait until Wednesday to see his entire kit to know how I feel about that. But if he's good in Dark Visions as well, then he might be a good long-term pull, because then he could be used on the new water stuff with the 8th anniversary. And as we know, that's going to be kind of a big deal. And he does have that amplify field for the whole water party going forward. But it really depends on how good he is in Dark Visions. So we'll see that on Wednesday evening. So next we've got, his TMR and STMR. His STMR is a robe. Only 500 stats for him. I don't get why they're doing this. Like, it's been 500 for a long time, but they're nerfing it to only 350 for him. I don't really get that. And then a bunch of killers and LB down to 50%. So it's overall a good robe. It's just like, why are they nerfing the flat stats for him? I don't know. Strange. And then the TMR is a double-handed staff with 1,000 magic on it. So there you go. I think... No, it's actually the same, isn't it, as the Dark Vision staff. 200 times 5 is 2,000, 1,000. Yeah, it's actually the exact same. No, the Dark Vision staff is 405 magic. So the Dark Vision staff will give you like a speck more magic, but no killers on it. Yeah, anyway, it's fine. There you go. And then his vision card. His vision card, honestly, nothing special. It's kind of generic. The art on it was pretty cool, but the card itself is like, whatever. And then they showed this vision card. This is a special vision card. Probably going to be on his step up or something. It's not his own vision card. It's a special vision card. And this one is 1,000 magic for only Chow, not for everyone. So this is like basically a Chow only vision card. And I don't love that, honestly speaking. Like, I like these banner vision cards to be good for multiple units. This is literally only for Chow. What is the point of that? I don't get it. Like, you could have made it 1,000 for Chow, and I mean, I guess it's Oh, actually, it's 500 to all. I didn't even see this. I thought it was only 1,000 for Chow. So it's actually 1,500 for Chow and 500 for everyone else. Okay, so the card is actually still usable on other units. Never mind. Forget what I said. It's actually a fine card. It's decent. It's not great. It's only 140 magic, not 170. But for Chow himself, obviously 1,500 magic, it's kind of a big deal. Yeah, I don't know. And the art is really cool. I really do like the art of Chow going trick-or-treating. It's kind of nice. Then we've got some actual global upgrades. Apparently, they've been listening, and they're now doing some global upgrades. Carton is getting the true dual wield cap, and he's getting a 150 dark amplify. So that's really nice. The issue is if that's all he's getting, it's not going to be nearly enough. Not going to be nearly enough. He needs modifier buffs. He needs like passives. He needs, flat stats. Carton is a 2-year-old unit, and just making him true dual wield with a 150 amp, I mean, that's a really good buff, but he is going to need more than that to be like meta level. I'll play with calculations later and see how he does. I do know even true dual wield, Carton still kind of struggles to gear because the true dual wield cap is now 400%, and his intrinsic, which consumes an entire materia slot, gives double hand, which was really good back in the day. But if you're gearing him true dual wield, that intrinsic is not doing a whole lot for him, but he still needs to wear it for the flat stats. So yeah, he's going to be a little tricky to gear. So I will have to see the full details of his awakening, but I am glad that they're doing awakenings. At the very least, he's not being ignored. And then some more awakenings for Kaito. So Kaito's Limit Burst is being increased in damage. He's getting a 160 Water Imperil in both Dark Visions and Clash of Wills. And then they said on the stream that he's also getting fields. I don't think they gave details on the fields, but Kaito is getting fields as well. And I think they said the fields are only in Clash of Wills, though. So keep that in mind. So yeah, that's pretty cool, I guess. Honestly, the damage is still going to be too low to really care. So 220 with 10 by 5, that's 20. That's like a 500 something LB. I guess that's not terrible if I'm doing my really quick math correctly. Let's do actual math. Okay. So 10.5 times 20. Whoops. Oh my god, I can't type. 10.5 times 20 plus 220 is a 430 LB. Never mind, it's really bad. It's still really bad. Oh well. And the top one is a 360 after the defense ignore. So yeah, buffs are nice. We'll have to see what his fields are, because the fields are going to be what really matters. Then we have information for the Clash of Wills. The boss is Inugami, a Beast Fairy Reaper, weak to Water, Light, and Dark. And I just want to take a second to mention, I think this sprite is really cool looking. I really love the sprite. It really reminds me of like Shin Ryu a lot from Final Fantasy V and other Final Fantasies as well, but mostly Final Fantasy V. The sprite really reminds me of Shin Ryu, and I love that a lot. I think he looks really, really cool. That's awesome. And then as far as the boss, so the boss uses Water, Dark, Non-Elemental, blah, blah, blah. Fractional damage reduces healing. You got to deal with him the proper elemental damage. He deals damage based on his skills, whatever. And then units that are effective are Chow, Tyvis, and Roka. Basically, just pull the latest units. Someone mentioned something about evoke damage in the chat of Discord. I didn't hear that in the stream itself, so I don't know what they were talking about. Maybe I misheard it. I wasn't listening to everything they said. But yeah, we'll have to see more about that on either Tuesday for the news or Thursday when it releases. And then Clash of Wills gear is getting some upgrades. And honestly, these are pretty decent tanking upgrades. So this one is the flat defense version. It's getting some higher stats across the board. Partial ailment immunity, not all of them, just some of them. And this one down here, is really nice. So this one will autocast every single turn. 15% HP and MP for the whole party, and activate barrier for the entire party. So that's like a passive healing for the whole party, percentage healing, which is really nice for restoring mana and health. That's just really nice. But this one, honestly, I think I'm more interested in this one. This one looks really good to me. So Swordsman's is the one I like. So the reason is this gives you death immunity, stop, and charm immunity all at the same time on one slot. Now you do lose the flat stats, but you get a little bit of resistances. But stop, charm, and KO immunity all in the same slot is really nice, and I really like that. But then again, I also really like the saviors down here. So I'll have to decide which one I'm going to go for. Both of them seem really, really good. I'm probably going to just drop the flat stat ones because these are just really nice. Then some UI updates. So this, if you watch my JP videos, you're kind of already familiar with this. This is down here. It shows you the breaks and how much on the actual thing on the bar itself when you're targeting a unit. And then they also said that they actually didn't preview it, but the in battle resistance and killer window is being updated. So if you've seen my JP videos, you're familiar with it. Basically, it gives you more information when you open a unit menu, and it pops up that window at the top left of the screen showing the current resistances, the killers, etc. It'll show more information in that window, which is awesome. Another update is 10 raid orbs. So this was delayed for quite a while on global, but we're finally getting it. That being said, you cannot auto battle the raid. You cannot kill, or you cannot use all the orbs at the same time. It's just more capacity for the orbs. So you can be away from your game for 10 hours and not miss orbs as long as you log in right away. But yeah, basically just your orb bar is bigger. That's it. It's nice. It's nice. Also an update: reward tiers for Dark Visions and World Divisions. More reward tiers will be added for event points and milestones. The number of points obtainable and the number of points needed per tier will increase. So basically, this is honestly not something to really worry about. In JP, they changed the scoring criteria for a lot of stuff in Dark Visions. Basically, the damage taken score gets increased to 150,000. The death score gets increased to 75,000. The chain score gets increased to I think 50,000 or something. In any case, yeah, Dark Visions, the scoring is different, but as long as you just do a perfect score, it's gonna all be the same. So it's really just not much to worry about. It's the same as before. That being said, if you go in there and you normally ignore your damage taken score, well, that's going to be a huge problem after the update. Because like I said, the damage taken score is increased to 150,000. So that is something you can no longer just ignore on a boss. And then the last thing, a little teaser for future Clash of Wills content. So a new gauge will be added that can be utilized to add more depth to content. And they show you the little screenshot right here. And as far as what it does, they didn't say anything. They told us nothing, but we can see it's like a little purple eyeball looking thing with a gauge on both sides. So yeah, they actually said on the stream, go ahead and speculate what it means. So they're kind of teasing us that they're not giving us more information yet, because it's not coming yet. This is not for this week. This is in the future. So yeah, more Clash of Wills, so they can add more depth, whatever that means. Speculate away. So there we go. There is and that was it. They also did a little bit of background where they talked about the way they designed Chow's vision card, and they talked about Chow's lore and all that. I'm not really going to go over all that in this video. It's if you want to see all that, check out the official live stream. But yeah, so once again, we'll have news probably on Tuesday. I'll do a news video. I've got a guest lined up. It'll be fun to talk about. We'll talk more about this. On Wednesday evening, we will look at Chow's unit data once it's available for everyone to see. We'll see if Chow is a great unit or a dud. We don't know yet. And then Clash of Wills on Thursday. So about Clash of Wills, I am still unsure specifically how I want to deal with Clash of Wills. If you saw my previous video about Clash of Wills, was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, during the plant boss, I forgot the name, Anthomosa, I think the name was. Yeah, so anyway, the Clash of Wills, if you saw the video, you kind of get the whole gist of it. And if you played the Clash of Wills, you're very aware the problems with that Clash of Wills. It was, to summarize it in just a single line, it was not fun. And at the end of the day, playing a game is supposed to be fun. And the Clash of Wills was not fun. Just not fun. I'm not going to rehash the whole thing with it, but all said and done, it was not enjoyable. And I talked about that in the video, and I said, I don't want to go through this ever again, because it was stressful, and it made me actively dislike the game of Brave Exvius, and that is not good. You don't want to be doing something that is making you just really resent the game you're playing, because obviously that is a very slippery slope to just quitting the game entirely. And I don't want to do that. I don't. I still enjoy Brave Exvius on the whole. I really do enjoy it. And that weekend, like that 4-hour stretch where I sat down and I was dealing with that boss's frustration, and it was not fun. It was not. It wasn't that I couldn't win. It was that, I definitely could have. A lot of people did get rank 1s, and I saw the things. Like I could have easily copied one of their teams. Like, a shout out to Resonant. He used literally the same units I have, and mine are actually higher EX level. So I could have easily copied it, gotten a rank 1. I didn't do that because the boss was just not fun. I was not enjoying myself. It was frustrating me. So I think on Thursday, what we should do is live stream and take a look at the boss. We will take a look at the boss on Thursday. I will live stream it so people can join me in the chat, and we can either suffer together or play around with it together and see, they, didn't repeat the foolishness of the previous Clash of Wills. But we'll check it out. We'll check it out, and we'll see how they did. It should be pretty easy to see relatively quickly if Clash of Wills is going to continue down the path of being actively not fun and frustrating. And if that's the case, okay, we expect it. We know what to do. We can just shut it down and walk away. Not a problem. From Clash of Wills, not the game as a whole. If they seemed like they've taken feedback and made it less obnoxious, we will check it out on Thursday and see what happens. So there we go. So, okay. Hope the live stream recap has been enjoyable. So we will see you for, the news video on Tuesday. See you then.